This is Barbie, and today I'm going to be using her to scam this entire Minecraft server. After doing some research, I saw that the new Barbie movie was making significant waves all over social media. So this means it's my perfect opportunity to use Barbie for money and for clout, by making my very own Barbie doll in Minecraft to sell to these fools. And it actually worked. But first, I had to design the Barbie doll in a separate single-player flat world using the Armorer's Workshop mod. This mod lets you create custom blocks and add them straight to the game without needing any resource packs. So I placed down the Armorer block and started working. The first thing I did was build an outline of the Barbie doll, all in one color, so I could work on coloring it in later. I went with a conventional build battle style, since building is not really my forte. For the skin, I knew it needed to be a somewhat sun-kissed color, so I went with a peachy orange look to give the impression that Barbie had done some sunbathing prior to turning into doll form. The first step was working on the face. This had to be vibrant and eye-catching because the other players needed to feel drawn to the doll. Next, I needed to make some cute cheeks to add a little extra detail into her. My God. For her eyes, I decided to go for blue to contrast with the pink cheeks, as well as an even darker blue that I use here to add some dimension to her eyes. And of course, some white next to them to imitate the Skylar. I think I said that wrong. For the hair, I went with a yellow color. I know Barbie is blonde, but I used blonde in a prototype and it looked kinda so yellow really stands out a lot more. As I began to fill in her hair, the life of Barbie was slowly coming together, making me feel even more hopeful that this scam was going to be a success. For the clothing, I wanted to go with the signature Barbie doll look, with a pink t-shirt in a highly saturated color because this thing had to stand out on those darn shelves. For the bottom half of her, I went with blue short, which personally I feel really tied the look together. And with that, Barbie was complete. So I exported the Barbie doll using the Armorer block and placed it down on the ground to have a real look at her. But the hair felt kind of off, so I quickly made a few adjustments and voila! Much better. But I wasn't about to stop there. Oh no. If I wanted to scam this entire server, I was going to need a genius plan. And that genius plan, selling double the dolls. So I got to work on making Ken. I wanted him to slightly contrast Barbie to give them each their own distinctive, unique look. But I also wanted them to look like a pair. So I went with blue for the t-shirt, but more of a neon blue color this time. I started creating a stripy t-shirt for Ken to match a reference image that I had found, and for the pants I went with a chino kind of color. Now for those of you who were born after 2005, chinos were kind of like a trendy trouser back in the day. Then it was time for the hair. Now I'd never made a short hair minifigure before, so I was struggling a little with getting the dimensions right, but in the end I don't think it turned out that bad. But you guys be the judge in the comments below, I suppose. It was time to see what Ken looked like as a small doll, so I exported Ken, placed him down, and honestly I think this turned out a lot better than I'd expected. But with the dolls out the way, I needed to actually build my shop. So I gathered all of the materials that I thought I might need, as well as spending an hour chopping down some extra things that I might find useful. And I began to work on the exterior of my shop. Luckily, as I was one of the first players to build a shop at our spawn, I managed to bag a spot right next to the entrance, meaning it would be the very first shop people walked past when they chose to go shopping. For this build, I wanted to go with a rustic old toy store vibe, one that feels vintage and is slowly going out of business. But don't get it twisted, that is not canon. Of course, mine is going to be a huge success, right? The way I build is pretty messy and absolutely not aesthetically pleasing in the slightest, so huge apologies for that. Since in this SMP I represent the jungle biome, I also wanted to add some jungle elements to the build. So I went with the unconventional jungle plank as the main block for this store. For the roof, I went with dark oak to give a huge contrast between the light jungle plank. I think this also works for the toy store vibe, as it adds to that rustic old school feel that I mentioned earlier, almost like a worn down shed in the back of someone's house. Then of course, I had to add some detailing around the build to really make it pop. And with that done, it was time to move to the interior. I wanted to keep it very simple so that the attention would be kept on the dolls themselves. So I went for a very simple and basic inside. But if you guys have any suggestions for me, please let me know. With the build finished, it was time to import all of the dolls into the server. So I loaded up my inventory, went back to the shop and placed all of my dolls onto the shelf. But something was missing from the front of my shop. Oh, that's right, a sign. So over to Photoshop I headed to create myself an eye-catching sign so that you couldn't not walk into my shop and spill all of your diamonds all over me. And of course I had to create a catchy slogan. Buy like Bertha, sell like Mertha. Now, for those of you new here, there's a little reference to my 5 minutes of fame back in the day. So check out my earlier videos if you want to know more. But with the sign complete, it was time to place it into the world. I added a little frame and there we go. The shop is totally finished. And I think it looks pretty darn cool if I'm honest. But to trick the rest of the server, I needed to make them believe that they were getting themselves an exclusive 50% off deal. When in reality, my plan was always to sell the dolls for this price. I'm gonna get so many people at this store, I'm telling you. It had been 12 hours and not a single person showed up to my store. The clock was approaching the 24-hour mark, and with only 3 hours left, I started to panic. So I quickly headed back over to Photoshop to make a little advertisement to leave at each player's base, so when they next logged on, they'd see my beautiful face and come straight to the store to give me all of their diamonds. I went over to each player and placed the biggest image that Minecraft possibly allowed me.
Bertha, that is a monstrosity.
And headed back over to spawn. As I sat waiting for my first customer, things began to feel hopeless. Until...
I've been waiting here for 75 minutes.
Well, hello there, darling. Welcome to my store. What do you think?
I'm excited to get scammed, I guess.
Don't say that too loud.
You know, these don't really look like Barbie.
Excuse me. Do you would like to buy my dolls?
Bertha, this is lovely.
Yeah.
Really. I don't know if I want any dolls right now.
Let's talk discounts.
For sure. We do have a 50% off discount today for our special first customer. Can I help you?
Oh.
Let's do a special offer. Come on.
I like special offers. It sounds fun.
They do look rare, to be honest.
Do you want Barbie or Ken, or how's about both?
I guess I'll do both.
Oh, well, I guess I'll take the cheapest one.
Are they cruelty-free?
No, I can't guarantee that, darling, but
What do you mean?
for 10 diamonds?
Yeah, that's all I can afford right now.
Oh, thank you.
10 diamonds.
And no tip. Right, well, here's the door.
Well, thank you. It was really nice. I love your shop.
Oh, goodness me.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
Well,
she's so cute.
yes, just be careful not to hold her near water. She will implode. Enjoy your
Why would she
doll.
implode?
Enjoy your doll.
What?
With 60 seconds left, I decided to get rid of any evidence that there may have been of this shop and the scam that had taken place. I packed up my diamonds and blew the thing up with TNT. And with that, I had officially, successfully scammed this entire Minecraft server.